Hi, friend.
Hello, friend.
And hello, friends listening. Last week I kind of forgot this part, but it happens.
Whatever.
This is the Lost Girls podcast if you have stumbled in and don't know where you are. And I am one of your hosts, Neva.
And I am your other host, Maria. Welcome.
Yay, success.
Yay, we did it. We introed.
Oh, shoot. I am excited about the topic today.
Yeah, me too.
We might want to do a disclaimer, perhaps.
I was actually thinking that because there's a bit of, I say a bit, there's a lot of crossover between shadow work and real psychology and what actual therapists do, which is valuable and everybody should do.
Yeah.
So we are not medical professionals. We are just two people who have done a shit ton of shadow work and also therapy. And so
true that.
Yes. I feel speak from a place of experience, but take what you want from it and or don't listen to us at all. All of those are valid.
Yep.
I think that's a good disclaimer.
Yep, I think so too. So yeah, we're talking about shadow work today.
Yes.
So I have my definition of shadow work. Maria, if you could summarize shadow work in like 100 words or less.
Ooh, 100 words or less. I think shadow work for me is taking the parts of yourself that you don't like and integrating them into your whole person. There's a lot of Carl Jung psychology behind shadow work. It's very, air quotes, Jungian in its origins.
Nice word.
I know, right? Sound like a real professional. I'm not.
Maria did her homework.
I did do my homework. I did. I think I feel like this topic is really important and also one of the ones that needs to be handled with utmost care. Like, this isn't one of those things, like you could go into a ritual, as we've said, with a bag of Doritos and the wrong color candle, and it's like fucking whatever.
Right.
But you really can't jump into shadow work without being fully prepared.
Yep.
Because you'll mess yourself up.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep.
So I think it's like our patterns and behaviors that stem from dark places and emotions and following those back to where they started, rooting it around, and then bringing those and integrating them into your whole psyche.
I love that definition.
Thank
Do you want mine?
I absolutely want yours.
So how I explain shadow work is, like, in most simplest terms, it is the process of asking why.
That's so much better than mine. So much better than my fucking convoluted psych answer. It's like, just ask why. Fucking yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes that is a painful process because sometimes it's stuff you've done to yourself and sometimes it's stuff other people have done to you. And sometimes it's like, oh, this person did this to me and then I started doing it to this other person and oh my God.
Yeah, I think there's a fair amount of like, oh, we as humans like to put the blame on other people, other situations and circumstances for the bad things that have happened in our lives. But shadow work is really about being like, what role did you play in these shitty circumstances?
Yeah.
How much of that is your fault and why? And then dissecting it, which is super uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like the more I do it, the more comfortable I am with it. Not saying like the moments themselves, no, they are sometimes very painful and leave me in a very raw place. But because I have done it, then I know like what's on the other side of that is a better version of myself. And that to create that person is worth it.
Yeah, the work is absolutely worth it. I think. Yeah, and I feel like both of us can say we've done shadow work that ends, or sessions that end with us in tears, or, you know, just feeling like I need to nap for 3 days to process what the hell I just did to myself. And really think about who I am as a person.
Right.
Yikes. So
I also feel like it's a big part of figuring out who you are and embodying that person.
yeah, it's hard to be your whole self if you don't have a balance of light and dark.
Yeah, or if you can't love all parts of yourself, it's hard to put your full self out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it speaks to authenticity, where like a person who's accepted both parts of themselves come across as more authentic, and then that's what they attract in their life. And I think everybody's better off for it. It's like, you may not like what you find, and it may be difficult, but the end result is so, so worth it. And it's not like there's I say end result, but I don't think that there's like a end
No.
to shadow work. It's a continual practice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like flexing a muscle. Like, you have to keep doing it for it to be effective.
If you reach a point where there's nothing more to learn about yourself, then you're probably dead.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, you've reached that like Buddhist level of enlightenment. Congrats, and see you in the next life, I guess.
Yeah. I guess you're done reincarnating here. If you keep doing it, it's just for fun.
It's just for fun, yeah. Here for a good time.
Not for a long time.
Oh man.
Would you like me to share my tarot decks?
Yeah. Why don't we start with that? I know that there's a lot of...
So, about a year ago, no, more than a year ago. What is this, July? Maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago? We're going to say like 2 years ago. I was like, yeah, shadow work. Anyway, the funny part about that though is about a year ago, I was at a pagan pride festival thing, and I did a tarot reading, like trade for services, and this chick was like, yeah, you need to and I didn't tell her that I'd been purposefully doing a lot of shadow work. I did not tell her that, but she called me out on it.
Oh shit.
Yeah. She was like, you need to like calm down on your shadow work a little bit. And I'm like, uh-huh. And she's like, because it's like not healthy for you right now. And I'm like, okay.
No. Girl, you dove headfirst into that pool and you're drowning.
Yeah. And I did. And I was like, oh, okay. I get it. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, and just like as a disclaimer, shadow work should not be something you take on without a life support somewhere. A friend or partner or actual therapist who knows what you're doing, because you're going to need it. And you need a third party from the outside to be like, you've gone too far, step back, or on the opposite, you're not pushing enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting because I didn't tell her or anything. She just totally called me out on it. I was like, I like you. Like, you're my style.
Yeah.
Because that's the sort of shit I do to people.
Right? When I'm reading?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to like this, but tone it down.
So I, during that period of time in my life, I bought a few shadow work specific kind of tarot decks. So this one's, I got this on Kickstarter. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so actually literally all of these came from Kickstarter. and or the creator themselves. Like none of these are like major publishers, so
And we'll link them if they have links.
I will. So this is called Dark Reflections. I like the back of the cards. I'm going to describe them for, whatever. It looks like a cracked window pane.
Ooh. Oh, it's like black on black.
Yeah, it's like a shiny black on a black mat.
Oh, that's the back of the card. I'm a real dumbass. I was like, "Ooh, what a fancy card!" That's just the back design. It's beautiful though.
But the whole point of this deck is like, ooh, this is a perfect example. The upright of this deck is the traditional reverse, and the traditional reverse. The opposite of that. So, like, for example, this is the sun card. It's like the sun is blacked out, like it's an eclipse, and there's a girl on a horse with red eyes, and there's some sunflowers.
Ooh, whoa.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is. It's like the reverse of the sun.
Right.
Yeah.
And then in the guidebook, it has all these, like, questions for reflection and blah blah blah, because to me personally, shadow work sometimes is a lot of just reflection and journaling, and I spend a lot of time doing that.
As if I needed an excuse to buy yet another journal.
Right.
I know.
I started a journal specifically for shadow work, and then I was like, and shortly after that was when the tarot lady was like, you need to calm down. And I'm like, okay.
Whoops.
Okay. Okay, so this is the Inner Child Healing Oracle deck.
Whew, let's all take a deep breath.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't use this deck a lot because it wrecks me.
Yeah.
I have to be in a good mental place. And the thing, like, in this deck, it's such a, like, good and loving deck. It's just like, I have some deep fucking shit there, So let's just pull a random card. Aw, okay, this one's actually really nice, but I would still totally cry my ass off. A love letter to your inner child.
Oh, fuck. Sorry. I'm already
like the art is beautiful.
Oh, she's so cute. It's like a girl sitting at a desk with a feather pen and blue hair, and it's like fairy lights. Yeah. It's adorable.
No,
it already makes me want to cry. Yeah,
I know, fine. Right?
Yeah,
like, the artwork is beautiful, and it's a deck that is absolutely full of love, but it just wrecks me. And one of these days, it'll be waiting for me when I am ready. And
right, but whenever that day comes, it's not today.
It's not today. Until then, it will just sit on my shelf, and it will be okay. Because, I love that deck, but it wrecks me. I can't, I have to be in a good emotional, mental, spiritual.
Yeah. It's like those things aligning is like the planets aligning. Like, and it only happens so often.
And then I have to be like, do I really want to fuck myself up right now?
Right. Do I have time to fuck myself up and then recover from this today? Probably not. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay. This one is called, I always have trouble with this, Arcana lists, as in like major and minor arcana, but like no arcana. Yeah. And then Apocrypha. Apocrypha?
Sure, why not?
Yeah. Anyway, this deck was themed for shadow work. So I'll just look at the one I picked. Okay. I don't completely jive with the style the cards are in. It's one where you take like a lot of images and kind of superimpose them on each other. There's a lot of skull and bone sort of work, but this one's called Ego Death.
Ooh, wow.
Which is kind of perfect. But it's kind of like, it's a skull You can see a skull head, and you can sort of, it's like if you had an x-ray, you'd be able to see the flesh around it. And then
Ooh.
there's just like eyes that kind of go up and they go all around, and then there's some lightning.
Oh, shit. It's more colorful than I imagined.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ego
Um,
death.
yeah, so this is a deck specifically themed for shadow work.
Mm.
And yeah, I backed this one on Kickstarter.
Nice.
So, another Kickstarter. Inner Child Healing was also a Kickstarter. I might have a problem, but that would mean I'd have to admit that I have a problem.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not admitting it. Go
okay,
ahead. Sorry.
I have one more, and they kind of actually go together. This is called Spread Crafter's Oracle.
Ooh, they're so pastel-y and pretty.
This is the big one. This one has some shadow work cards, and then the smaller one is like an expansion pack specifically for healing and deep shadow work.
There you go.
So what these cards are, it's like if you don't, when you sit down with your tarot deck, you're like, I don't know what question I want to ask. You pull one of these cards and it tells you what question to ask.
Oh, I like that.
Basically. So yeah, this expansion pack is shadow work specific. Let's see what we get here. Let me see if I can find a specific shadow work one. Maybe. Okay. Are you ready for this?
I'm totally ready.
So, alienation is like the heading, and then it asks some questions. How? Oh gosh. Oh, this is tough. Okay. How have you contributed to your own or somebody's separation and alienation? How have you been alienated by the words or actions of others? And what can you do to move forward in an empowered and positive way?
Okay. I'm gonna need a minute.
Right?
Holy shit. Just for two people who have been alienated and for our own health had to have alienated a decent amount of our biofams, this card sucks.
Uh-huh. Yep. I was like, well, that's where we're going, I guess.
Cool. Well, today on the podcast, you're going to get to see Maria and Neva cry their fucking eyes out.
So those are my decks that if you want to, if you're feeling too good
and you just want to bring yourself down.
You're like, I've just been too happy lately.
I really feel like I need a bummer of a day. Oh, man. Well, this is good. If it's like rainy and moody out and you're like, I'm entirely too happy about this, there you go. Do some shadow work. It fits the mood.
So I have heard, and I don't know if you've heard this, I've heard people say the best time of year to do shadow work is like in the fall and winter. However, I personally don't agree with that for myself because that's usually the time of year when I'm already sad. So I'm like, why would I want to make myself even more sad?
Yeah, I guess I can see how people would be like, oh, it's dark and you're supposed to be restful and whatever.
Introspective.
But introspective, but like, I don't know. I like the fall and winter, particularly, like I'm a real winter gal. But that doesn't mean I want to like, I don't know, tear my soul open when it's dark out at 4:00 at night. So I'm good.
Yeah. I feel like it's as things come up. Sometimes I think that's the best way to deal with them.
Yeah.
So actually, I think it was Friday. I pulled one of my I pulled just one of my cards from this deck, which includes some shadow work. And when I turned it over and it was a shadow work card, I was like, okay, like take a breath. We're going to be all right. We're going to get through this. And, you know, I cried a little bit, but it was actually super, super relevant to the day that I had on Friday. And it was the message that I needed to hear on that day. But it was still like, oof.
Yeah. It can be really heavy. But valuable. Speaking of valuable.
Yes.
So we're not just like two crazy witches. I mean, we are two crazy witches. But shadow work itself is actually recognized as a practice by psychologists and therapists. You may have participated in something, and I always get the letters reversed, but it's like EDMR.
Oh, I haven't, but I know someone who has.
Yes. Well, you do, because you're talking to one.
It's the flashing light one, right?
You can do it in a variety of ways. Yeah. It's essentially tracing your trauma back to where it started and then like reprogramming it. For me, the lights didn't work. I did tapping because like the physical sensation.
Can I say I love tapping.
Yeah.
There's something about that I just like so soothing to me.
It's super soothing and really grounding.
Yes.
For me. So
I should do it more often than I do.
Yeah, I always forget. I'm like in the middle of a panic attack and I'm like pounding on my chest. And I'm like, okay, this isn't helpful now. But yeah, but I found it to be extremely similar in that way. But there is an article written by one Dr. Davis. She is a PhD in psychology. And she basically wrote an article that was like, how to do shadow work. And goes over like the finding out the repressed parts of yourselves and that are unpleasant and just understanding what you can do to like see them clearly. The biggest thing she goes over, which I thought was so cool, was one of these shadow work exercises, which is called Who Am I Not? I know. And so you list 5 positive qualities that you believe you possess as a person. So, and then you envision a person who has the 5 opposite, like what's the dark side of that quality? So like, for instance, to me, a positive quality I think I have is I am protective of my family. But the dark side of that is like possessive and jealousy and all of those things.
Yeah.
And so then you have to look at situations in where that positive quality you think you have has manifested itself in that negative opposite way. And like, what strengths do people with that quality possess, and how can you integrate that into your regular self?
I love that.
So it's this whole process that I was like, oh, that is so awesome. But the first step, even in her article, which I will link in the episode notes, was like recognizing your shadow aspects. So like understanding what they are, labeling them. A famous quote from my kick-ass therapist was, you gotta name it to feel it, or something like that. And I was like, hell yeah. Yeah, she's badass. And then identifying with the shadow aspects, what I think is really hard for people to be like, oh, I can be like that, not I am like that. And so it's like, no, you just have to recognize and come to peace with the fact that this is also part of your personality. And then owning the shadow. So
for me, my shadow work usually happens when I get triggered by something.
Sure, yeah.
And being able to, in that moment, take a step back be like, okay, I am triggered.
Right.
Why? What? Like, what and why? Why am I triggered? What is triggering me?
Mm-hmm.
And then working through that, which
Yeah.
that's all I can say about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a friend many years ago. And I found it increasingly difficult to be around her and couldn't understand why,
Mm-hmm.
because she was this like very happy, bubbly person. And I was like, why am I so triggered by being around her? And it was really that like we had both had kids and she was happy about it and I was not. And I had horrible postpartum depression and was like not dealing with everything. I was like, I cannot be around a person who's excited to have kids because it's fucking killing me. And so, basically I said that to her and was like, I'll come talk to you again in like a year or two when I figured my shit out. But right now, it's just making shit worse for me. And then she was like, oh, but the beauty of motherhood. I'm like, I literally want to die. And I was like, please stop talking to me about the beauty of motherhood. I'm like, all I want to do is run away.
Oh, I'm glad that you were able to like recognize that and make that boundary for yourself.
Yeah, it was super hard. She was a really good friend for a long, and she is now still my friend.
Yeah.
But it was rough for a couple years. And
Yeah.
there was a couple years there where like a lot of that group of friends all had kids and they were all real happy about it. And I did not adjust to it as easily as they all did. And so I took myself out of it for a while.
That could have been alienating.
Yes, actually. It was very alienating.
Bring it full circle.
Full circle. Yes. I was very alone. It's fine. Oh, God. It's fine. I'm not going to cry about it. It's fine. Fucking whatever. It's all good.
Yeah, that's one of my superpowers is making people cry.
Yeah, it really is. I distinctly remember getting a text from you that was like, I totally made my wife cry today. I was like, what the fuck, Neva?
I don't do it on purpose.
I know. I was like, what the hell? Oh, you're so funny.
Okay, I'm going to share a story.
Oh, please.
That is very related. So I made a new friend at work. I mean, I think we're still friends.
We're still friends. You've only been at this job for what, a week and a half?
2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay, well, we're still friends because this happened last week and she talked to me. It happened the week before last and she talked to me last week. So we're all good.
Okay, cool.
But like, she's a writer. And so we were talking about all the things. And another like internet friend had posted something that really resonated with me and getting my work done. And I was like, I think it might, resonate with you too. But what it is the magic you're looking for is in the work you are avoiding.
Oh, which is really the writer's version of shadow work.
And she just, I think if we hadn't been at work, she looked like when a person's face like kind of turns red, and I'm like,
oh no,
I'm like, I'm sorry. She's like, no, I mean, she's like, that's actually very true, and I really liked it, but like, she's like, damn, like that hit me, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Oh no. Fucking Neva making people cry. Guys, she only looks sweet in it, is it?
It's how I get away with things. I have this face that people trust, and then I'm like, ha!
Harsh truth. Here you go. Now what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? Cry?
What are you gonna cry about it? Maybe that's the shirt I make you. It's just, what are you gonna cry about it?
I will wear it every time I read cards.
Yes! Oh my god. You're like, there's only crying in shadow work.
I feel like anytime I go to a place and read for other people, there's always at least one person that cries.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't make the messages, I just deliver them.
Right. It's like, don't shoot the messenger, please. Yeah. Oh man. So, shadow work, right. So there are tarot decks that you can use to do it. You can do it in conjunction with a therapist. There are also journals that have prompts. I have one such journal, which is cool, and it has specific like tarot spreads for doing shadow work, which I like. So you don't have to buy a whole new deck.
Right, no.
You can just, specify shadow work spreads and do them that way. Or read the cards reversed, which for me, I always read as like internal work.
I just have a tarot deck buying problem.
Oh god, yeah, same. I mean, I'm definitely going to go look up 3 of the decks that you mentioned and probably buy them. So it's fine. It's great. I may need to do some shadow work around buying things. But that's fine. That's for tomorrow, Maria, to worry about.
Can relate to that.
Yes. Whoops. Some things that I thought were cool were there are crystals that are specific for shadow work.
Ooh.
Yeah, which I thought was fun. It's in the journal that I have.
I do like crystals, even though I went on my whole, where do crystals come from rant the other day.
Yeah.
Like, I do like them.
Yeah, I do too. Especially like, I think for a lot of us, we probably have these already, or some of them. Like, I'm looking at the list. I'm like, I have 3 out of the 6 in my house right now. Don't need to go out and buy any. But the biggest one is black obsidian, which I really like as a stone. It's known for being a strong grounding force. It also is big on protection. Lesser known quality is that it brings to the surface your feelings in a safe and supported capsule. So like if you either hold the black obsidian or focus on it while you're meditating, while you're like exploring your deepest, darkest secrets, it could help you access some of that if you're having trouble accessing those dark parts.
There were 3 words in that description that I think were very important. One was grounding, and one was safe, and one was supportive.
Yeah.
And I think though, when you are doing shadow work, those 3 things are very important.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Being in a safe space is like number 1, and grounding yourself. And having support nearby if you need it. And that could be a person who lives with you or a friend who's on speed dial. Yeah. I don't think either. We cannot stress enough the importance of being safe while doing shadow work.
Yep.
Yeah. So one of the other ones was selenite, which is like almost the exact opposite of black obsidian, but it's also a hella grounding stone. Which
love
can
a
really
piece of selenite.
Yeah, keep us focused. Selenite, me and selenite don't get along.
Really?
Which is weird. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't like me. Or maybe I need it really bad and that's why it always breaks. I don't know. I get like a weird, like electric-y static thing when I touch selenite. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah.
There is a stone, and it might be on your list, and I bet it might. If I can't think of it, but if you say it, I will say something because it's the same for me.
Yeah. It's so weird. But selenite is really good for cleansing and clearing, so just bringing some light to the dark.
If you ever visit my house, I'll hide all my selenite.
No, you don't need to hide it. Like,
It's when it's literally over like every door frame and
knowing my luck, they would just fall off the door frames onto my head. Like, that's exactly what would happen.
maybe it's the universe like, you need this. Just starts chucking
Boom.
selenite at you.
Yeah, I know. I had one a couple years ago that was like, get me out of your house. And I was like, what? Yeah. And every time I held it, it was insane, right? Every time I held it, I felt like the ocean, like it wanted to go to the ocean. And I was like, fucking fine. So one day, like however many years ago, and I was like, fine, I'm gonna drive to the beach. I'm just gonna drive to the beach. It's an hour and 10 minutes away. So I took this piece of selenite and I drove to the beach and I tossed it into the fucking ocean and was like, here, go home. Just go home.
Well, and selenite dissolves in water.
Yeah. So it wanted to be in the ocean. And I was like, all right, man, bye. It was so weird. It was so weird. I know I sound like a crazy person, but whatever. The other three are kind of related. Zabradorite, which is related to Labradorite.
Okay. Never
yeah,
heard of it, but I
it has-
imagine it has a flash.
Yeah, it has flashes of like blues and greens and purples. It's very pretty, but they're good at soothing anxiety, while opening your mind up. Amazonite is the stone of truth.
I love Amazonite.
So it opens your perception and focuses our courage so we can see clearly where opportunities lie for self-discovery. So that's like, hey, you should be a little more honest with yourself about where your dark stuff lies. And Amazonite is all about that. And then the last one is sodalite, which I super like. It's like bluish, it has specks in it.
Sometimes I have difficulty distinguishing between that and blue and lapis.
Yeah, they look very similar.
Yeah.
It's a stone of practicality. So sodalite promotes our rational self, so keeping you balanced, basically, so that negative voice doesn't take over. So those are just
I had a piece of sodalite once, and it broke, and I was very sad.
Oh no! I'm sorry.
I know. I got over it though. No, the stone that does it to me is whatever the one is that's supposed to like block electronic something.
Oh shit!
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do know what you're talking about. Fuck! And now I can't think of the name.
Yeah, I can't.
But I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
That one, like, I cannot, like, if I hold it, I'm just like, I don't like it. Like,
yeah, that's me and cellulite. I'm like, ew, no, stop touching me.
Stop touching me.
Stop touching me. I know. Which means I probably really need it, but it's fine. It's all good.
If we were to wrap this up in a pretty little bow,
yes.
Why, we talked about how shadow work can suck and it's painful and all these things. Why on earth would anyone want to do this? Like, why not just be all love and light all the time?
Ooh, boy. Or are you asking me that as a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It's a good question, Neva. Thank you.
You're welcome, Maria.
Nothing against the love and light witches out there. You do your thing, chicken wing. That's fine. I don't think it's a whole interpretation of a person. So you can't acknowledge your love and light without acknowledging the depths and the dark that it comes from too. So I think to become your most self-actualized, most authentic self, whole and healed, you need to examine those darker aspects, and that there's nothing wrong with having darker aspects, particularly if you examine them and you integrate them into your whole self.
I agree with that. I also think it's important to note, like, it's all part of a balance. Shadow work has its place. Light work has its place. It's all, that balance. And I think it's important to balance both of those sides.
Yeah. I keep thinking of the movie The Last Jedi with which is a Star Wars movie, but it's the best Star Wars movie, and fucking whatever. People can fight me in the comments about it if they want. Because I will die on that hill.
I haven't really watched most of the new stuff.
It's okay. I'm a little obsessed with Kylo Ren / Adam Driver. But in the movie, the two main characters represent the light and the dark.
Mhm.
When in reality, what they need is a balance. And it's like, when they come together, the force is balanced. And it's like, yeah, that's just us as people. So
I could talk all day about the original trilogy, though.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, there's nothing compares to Empire.
Okay. Anyway, that's a Star Wars tangent.
Yeah, I know. We could do a whole other episode about our favorite movies and how they relate to us being witches, because I think that would be awesome.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Like the movies that made us.
All right. Write it down as an idea.
I'm going to write it down. Just got to find something. Okay, we're good.
That, I mean, the title, The Movies That Made Us, I'm pretty sure that is like a TV series on Netflix or something, but we can make it our own. Okay.
Yeah. We'll come up with something different. But, Neva, do you want to, because you have all of your fancy cards, pick a final shadow work card for us?
Okay. I'll take it out of the Arcana list one.
Cool.
Not the inner child healing.
You know,
I'm
gonna
not.
Fuck me up.
I'm not. Not emotionally prepared for that today.
No.
Okay. I love this for us.
Yeah.
This card is called The Grounding.
Oh,
And
nice.
there's a silhouette of a person with roots coming out of its feet. And I can't think of what that symbol is called off the top of my head.
Oh, I don't know, but it's like sacred geometry.
It's a sacred
like
geometry layered over the silhouette of the person.
And it lines up with all the chakras.
So this feels just like, you know, go outside, get some nature, find your center.
Yeah. Put your feet in the dirt / sand / water.
Yep. I love that for us.
Yeah, me too. That's good. I think we need some grounding after the tumultuousness of this episode.
Yes. Indeed.
So, shall we do some joy things?
What is bringing you joy, Maria? Tell me.
Oh my gosh. Okay. There is a very awesome and then a very superficial thing that's bringing me joy. So the very superficial thing that's bringing me joy is I bought new sneakers last night. And they are these wild Fila platform sneakers, and they're like iridescent, and they're fucking rad.
Oh my gosh. Love that for you.
I'll send you a picture later.
Yes.
So they just bring me a lot of joy because I wore them around yesterday and today, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, those are so you." And I was like, "Oh." I just felt so like authentic in these ridiculously flashy sneakers. And they give me like 3 inches, which is great because I'm super short.
How tall are you?
I am 5'4.5", almost 5'5".
Okay, you're taller than me still. I'm 5'2" with my shoes on.
Oh boy. I will not wear those sneakers around you. Yeah, my family was weirdly tall for Italians. So I was the shortest one in my family at that height. Yeah, which is interesting. But Neva, what is bringing you joy?
Okay, here's what's bringing me joy. I finished writing my saxophone djembe duet.
Hell yeah.
And I sent the PDF and the audio file to my composition teacher. And his email back was like, "This is really great." She's like, "This is really good." You know, the ending was very effective and very, I can't remember. Anyway, it was a glowing review. And so there's still like a few little, I got to add a few things to make it a little bit more playable. But now me and my friend I'm going to play the saxophone. He's going to play the djembe. Like, we're going to rehearse it and then perform it for people. So
That's really exciting.
I know. And so yeah, I'm just like, that is bringing me a lot of joy. And at the new moon, I always set some intention. And my intention at the last new moon was that I was going to finish this thing.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I did it.
Yeah. And the last new moon was like 2 days ago. So
Oh, well, the one
killing
before
it.
that.
I
Sorry.
figured the one before.
Yeah, the one before
Yeah.
that. Right.
You know, in a cycle, you did the thing.
I did the thing.
You did the thing. I'm so proud of you, friend.
Thank you, friend.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. And as always, please do not attempt to do shadow work without grounding, being in a safe place, and having a support system. And please, 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 if you have not done so, go see a therapist, because everybody should.
Everybody has something to talk to a therapist about.
Agreed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, and leave us the stars, and check out our Patreon.
Yeah.
And follow us on the social medias. And we'll see you next time.
All right, we'll see you next time. Bye, friends.
Bye, friends.